So welcome to hot and sweaty Barcelona for the Rolex T52 World Championship. Their defending champions are Quantum Racing, powered by American Magic. We're with Harry Melges, who's in the hot seat as the helmsman, joined this week by Terry Hutchison. Harry, how do you feel about the week and your chances of defending the title?
Yeah, we're feeling really good. Obviously, it's a new afterguard for the team this week, but we've had a couple great training days, and we're really looking forward to racing today.
What's it like with Terry on board? You've never sailed with him.
I've never sailed with Terry, but it's been a real pleasure getting to sail with him the last couple of days, and I'm really confident going forward to this week.
You've also been out on the water recently with the Cup team, steering the Cup boat. How does that feel? How does it compare with the 52?
It's been really awesome all summer. We've had a lot of really good days on the water, and we've been learning a lot. It's quite different than sailing at 52, but there's a lot of similarities in the way the programs are run and the high level of the sport.
How do you feel in terms of pressure defending the title then?
I mean, I'm sure everyone feels pressure, but that's just the name of the game, and we're all here to compete and try to win.
Indeed, we are all here to compete and to win, and one of the most toughest, most experienced competitor is indeed Terry Hutchison, and we caught up with Terry before the regatta started.
It feels a little bit nervous, trepidation. The guys on the boat, we have a high standard that we race for and try to achieve, and so that coming into it. And the guys have had 2 of their 3 regattas this year have been podium finishes, and so I think here the expectation is no different.
So what's your approach then?
Make each day better than the day before. And there's a lot in that because we have a new afterguard. It's the first time I've raced with Harry. It's the first time I've raced with Victor and Nico, and so we got a lot of refinement to do. And I think our bread and butter is, as it has been over the years, is our boat handling side of it and our speed side of it. So, but everybody's fast and everybody's very good, and so really what you're trying to do is get on par with the other 9 boats.
How's the training gone so far?
We had our first day was good. Yesterday we had a proper beat down. We did a lot of things well, but if you had scored the day, we probably would have brought up the tail end of the fleet. And so, but those are the ones that you kind of learn out of. And obviously today we didn't race, but a lot of good things inside of, yesterday was better than the day before, and that we did a lot of things well, and we just bad decision making on the race course, so that we can control.
What were the key things in terms of risk management this week then?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I do know. I think it's a 5-day regatta. It's really hot, so managing our energy levels early on, getting the regatta to a Friday and Saturday where you have an opportunity to be successful in the event, and when you reflect back on the event in Cascais last year. That was an atypical Cascais until the last day. We did 80% of that regatta on a J1 or a J1.5 in Cascais, which is meant to be J3s, J4s. And there we did a very good job of just managing the racing and managing the average on the day. And so, I think this year it's a little bit of the same. Probably our expectations might not be in line with how mature we are as an afterguard. And so, we really have to work hard on managing both sides of that.
And where does this fit in for the young guys in American Magic? You're on the team.
Yeah, well, this is, I think part of the underlying mission really is to set ourselves up that we're developing that next generation of sailor, and primarily my reason to be here is to help support that and to help support that mission and help really support Doug and Hap's vision towards that. And that's not an easy thing to do because you're competitive and you want to help mentor and you want to help the guys along. We're really fortunate to have Scott and have Sarah in the mid-bow. She's doing a great job, and then Harry and Victor and Nico, who is on navigating. But I think I want to say Victor's the adult supervision at 31 years old. So. It's exciting to see because somebody like Victor, as the example, he's won 2 world championships this year in not easy classes, an Etchel World Championship and a J70 World Championship. And so, those are big regattas to win, and it's it's all there. And Harry, at the ripe old age of 22, has already been the U.S. Yachtsman of the Year. So, again, he's it's all there. It's just simply a matter of helping harness it and help, show them a process and have all the guys on the team show the younger generation, the way to do their job and to really help them learn their jobs and have them own their jobs.
Do you have a preferred weather situation this week? You get me wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't even really thought about it. I mean, I think, and I haven't thought about it because there's so much for us to do. You kind of take each day as it comes at you. And but I think as we look at the forecast, tomorrow is going to be another light day. Thursday has the potential to be light again with a late afternoon sea breeze, and then Friday and Saturday should be a little bit more normal. But it's been, in the other world, the thing that we know in watching the weather side of the Mediterranean in particular, the Med on average is a degree hotter than it's ever been in history. And there are places in the Mediterranean that are up to 4 degrees Celsius hotter than it's ever been in history. And so all of these changes in our world and our environment have a net impact to the sea breeze. And so we know everything's softer, everything's a little less mature, and when it fills in because the water temperature is warmer. And so you'd have to think that overall, if we get you remember when we raced back here in 2011, we had great sea breezes. It was 16 to 18 every day, and it was the same time of year. And it's amazing how much it's changed in 12 years' time.
You feeling at home here?
I'm starting to. I've been coming and going from the U.S. a bit. Barcelona is a city and is a venue for, be it the Super Series or the America's Cup. I mean, it's a very cool city, and the people here have been incredibly welcoming to both organizations. And so for us, I'm sleeping at home in my apartment, and it's nice to have my children here. Hopefully they'll be out on the race course some watching us, and yeah, I mean, it's nice. It's very nice.
Well, there you go. Terry Hutchison on board Quantum Racing, powered by American Magic, in the hot seat as the American Magic team look to defend the World Championship title that they won last year in Cascais. We're joined this week, very fortunate to have Stuart Struley with us in the studio, New York Yacht Club comms director, but an expert on the 52 Super Series. He's been with us many times before. Stu, your thoughts on what Terry was saying?
Well, first of all, it's great to be back here, and thanks to you and the whole team for having me back. It's tremendous to see this event, and I think speaking on behalf of the club, we're very excited for this to come to Newport next year. It's been too long for the 52s to be racing actively in the U.S. In one design form, and so we're really excited to see them come back. But I think a tremendous insight there from Terry, as always. It's great to see him integrating with this team. This is his team, been his team for the last however many years, but he's now sort of been pulled away with the America's Cup squarely in his focus. So for him to get back on board and reintegrate, especially as this youth infusion continues with this team, is really tremendous, because he has such experience, especially in these boats, especially in monohulls like this. And I'm sure that Harry and Victor, Sarah, the rest of the team are really going to benefit from having him on board.
How hard is the task facing him and the team then this week in this fleet?
Well, I think that the task is tremendously hard for each of these boats, right? We know how difficult this series is to succeed in, and if you look back at the results, whether it's the World Championships or the series at large, you can see the winners are almost revolving on a regatta by regatta basis, and no team really has that consistent sort of favorite label that you see in many other classes or many other sporting venues. So I think getting out there and having a good day if we're able to get out in the water and go racing today is key. And then, as Terry mentioned, it's a long, hot week, and you've really got to manage your your energy levels. And make sure you're saving yourself for later in the week, especially if we see three races down the road to make up for today.
Indeed, it's going to be a long, hot week. We spoke with a couple of the navigators. We spoke with Nacho Postigo, who's the navigator on board the series leaders, Prevezza, and also Michele Avaldi, the 2021 world champion on sled.
Well, overall it's going to be light. We're under big high pressure, so today is probably the lightest day where the wind will struggle to fill in. The hope is that we'll go all the way to 180 or 200, but there are some models that are going to be light all day. But it should be improving during the week, and hopefully some models are very optimistic. By the end of the week we could have some races in 12 to 16.
It feels great. It's just like being in the middle of the action, being in the epicenter of sailing in the next coming 2 years. I hope the wind cooperates a little bit better than at the end of the week than it's doing at the beginning of the week, but I'm sure it will be a great race.
So Nacho Postigo there, the navigator on board the Prevezza. Prevezza, of course, have a 19-point lead in the circuit at the moment. So it's a different approach for them perhaps this week, Stu.
Well, I guess that depends on what you think they're aiming for, right?
Everybody's aiming for the title for the circuit.
The circuit, if the circuit title is your number one goal, then you certainly have to take maybe a more conservative approach to this event. If you're a team that's maybe further down the standings and you're looking at this way as something that can really salvage the season for you, then you might be willing to take some more risks. But I think Perezza with a very impressive 19-point lead, clearly they're going well. They won 2 of the 3 events, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
So they know they have the speed to do well, and if that's the case, then you probably are less likely to take risky starts or punch out to a side because you know that just staying with the fleet is going to give you an advantage.
But in the meantime, you have teams like certainly Platoon started relatively modestly, won the last regatta, and are twice world champions. They're the form team at the moment.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, this circuit has shown that all 10 of these teams have the potential to win. So you cannot come into an event thinking that you are going to be the favorite or thinking that you have an advantage. It's nice to know that your speed has, over the last couple of events, shown to be strong. But you can't count on that regatta to regatta because these teams are constantly evolving their sail shape. They're taking notes. They're looking at what everyone else is doing. They're making changes to their sails and their rig tuning. They're looking for that sweet mode that will get them up the course the fastest, and oftentimes they do find it.
And we have other teams like I say Allegre, Phoenix, Sled, who are knocking on the door and could well win here.
Yeah, of course. Any of the teams here, I think you'll see have the potential to win races, if not the regatta.
What's the general strategy? What would you be expecting to see from the teams on day one?
Well, the traditional wisdom is you can't
win.
You can't win the regatta on day one, but you certainly can go a long way to losing it.
And you can always use that cliche on day one, but not at the end of the week.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Well, but it's a cliche because
it's true.
It's right. It's true, and it's been proven regatta after regatta that you really got to go out there. You've got to get off the line well, and you've got to make some smart calls in that first beat, and hopefully put yourself in a position to be playing for a podium finish in the first race. I think the aiming for a victory in every race is aiming too high and will probably get you in trouble. But if you look for top 3, top 4 historically, I think you'll see that is what wins you a world championship.
I know one of the changes we see this week was Ed Baird coming on board the Phoenix. What does Ed bring to the Phoenix program? He obviously knows the team, has sailed with them historically, and will fit in very nicely. But what does he bring to the team? Well, you know him quite well, obviously.
Ed's a consummate professional, right? He's been sailing at a high level for decades, right? We were chatting with him last week about sailing 470s back 30, 40 years ago. So he has been competing in the Olympics, the America's Cup, the TP52, all sorts of things at this level. World Match Racing Tour brings a tremendous amount of experience, obviously a very calming influence. He's never been a guy that gets too emotional out on the water. So he comes in, he can provide steady, experienced advice, and can hopefully...
Very much a safe pair of hands in some respects.
I think so. But let's not discount it as just being safe, right?
Yeah.
It's clearly he knows this game as well as anybody, and when it comes out here to sniffing out ways to make a boat faster, he's got to be at the top of your list if you're looking to improve.
And certainly, I think he feels he's got something to prove still in this fleet at his age. He's not been with us this season so far for the first time, and he's back. He's got a great opportunity to prove what he can do.
Yeah, I think you don't get to this level without a constant desire to prove yourself, right? Because sailing is a sport that is, everyone is sort of reinventing themselves every year, going out, retooling their programs and showing what they can do. So I think just like any competitive sailor, Ed is eager to show that he has still got what it takes to succeed at the top level.
Good, thanks, Stu. Let's hopefully go on the water with Tor Tomlinson, our commentator on the water. Tor, how is it looking?
Hi, Andy. We are just sitting out here waiting for some breeze. Maria gave us a little update about 15 minutes ago. She saw like 7-8 knots about half an hour, 45 minutes ago, but it's just started to drop back off again. We've got some clouds over the city and the mountains, and it's quite hazy there, which indicates to me that that's going to put a little bit of a stop to the sea breeze we were hoping for. The breeze is a bit further left than we'd want it to be if it was coming in, but that being said, it's just starting to eke right a little bit. So the teams they've not got their mains down yet, so they're hopeful. We need to keep our fingers crossed, I think.
We do indeed. Not looking so great at the moment, Stu. It's going to be a day where patience is required.
Yeah, patience, and then the ability, this breeze comes in, because if it does come in, it's going to come in, and they may want to get things going pretty quickly. So you've got to be able to flick that switch from sort of standby mode into race mode pretty quickly, get the boat ramped up, and find whatever opportunity you have to go upwind, get your settings dialed in, and really get a feel for what the breeze is going to be. It's not sort of the normal workup of an hour 15 minutes that these teams really like to do. It's going to probably be much shorter than that.
Just looking there at Gladiator. Gladiator have this change this season with Guillermo Parada, 4 times 52 Super Series champion, skipper and helm, coming into the Tony Langley's team, into the Gladiator and steering. And they've had a couple of podiums this season. And again, a team knocking on the door, and they were on board with Platoon, which were going, obviously won in Menorca, but were also going very well in training over the weekend. Didn't get a practice race per se yesterday. Came out and waited, and unfortunately not enough breeze. But double world champions, kind of on the roll, winners in Menorca, super close, super tight regatta, but a team that knows how to win.
But just seeing those photos reminds me just what great boats these TP52s are. You look at the rear view there. You see the cockpit. It's so clean. It's such an efficient workstation for sailors. I think anyone who goes sailing has sailed on boats where you feel like you really are fighting the boat or fighting the deck layout or whatever it is. And these boats have evolved to the point when they are just such beautiful racing machines, and they make. I think that's one of the reasons the racing's so close, is the sailors have the tool that they need to really perform to the best of their ability.
That's right, indeed. Some of our pros have been sailing these boats for the best part of 20 years, and they still love it as much as they did on day one. Competition's tighter and closer than ever, and we've got a couple of teams building new boats for next year. Yeah,
that's great. I mean, you can probably count on one hand the number of classes that have lasted 20 years.
Yeah,
maybe on one finger. I'm not sure you have that many. There hasn't been many, but this class evolved from a offshore boat meant to go downwind to Hawaii, and it came to the east coast of the United States and started doing more buoy racing, and then obviously came over here in the middle of the aughts, 2005, 2006, and the circuit has been basically here ever since to some extent.
Give us a bit of a picture of the class in the States at the moment. Obviously, our strategy, such as it is to come to Newport and try and attract some of the American boats onto the circuit, as has worked for us in the past.
Yeah, well, we have a few there. There's been a few sort of bouncing around the last 4 or 5 years in a handful of different places. They always do well on handicap, whether it's under IRC or ORC. They are tremendous boats, and I think they obviously have a great wealth of talent to pull from. So you can always find sailors who have experience in this boats. The Great Lakes 52 circuit has evolved over the last couple of years, and they've done sort of some seasons in certain places, and I think we may see a few of those boats coming over to Newport to do a little more racing next summer. But
more and more of our sailors being exported across to that circuit as the level there ramps up. I mean, there's a number like Nacho's just done 5 weeks in the States with the Fox program, I think. A few of them, and it's quite an intense scene now.
Yeah, I think it's really come up, and again it's you can look at the sort of the raw numbers of boats. We're looking at 5 or 6 boats, and that may not be so impressive, but when you see the racing and you see how tight it is, you realize that the competition really is at the top level. And while it may not be the 10 or 15 or 20 boat fleets that everyone loves to see on the water, it is tremendously exciting racing, and we are seeing some of these owners get more serious and bring in some more talent to sail their boats, which also I think is great, because that infusion of sort of experience from the Super Series circuit lifts the level of all the sailors over there. And there's a lot of teams there that are a mix of sort of homegrown sailors and some imported talent, and that just means everyone gets better. So I think if you're a fan of sailing, you love the 52s, you want to see them out there racing. They are a joy to watch. They are a joy to sail if you have that rare opportunity, but they really are just wonderful. And so bringing them to the U.S. next year, I think, is tremendous. We're excited to have them for our 170th annual regatta at the New York Yacht Club, one of the oldest events in North America, and also for Race Week at Newport, presented by Rolex, when we'll have the World Championship.
Just explain a little bit about the schedule then for the 52s for next year.
Sure. So we have our 170th annual regatta. I believe it's going to be June 9th or 11th. You put me on the spot here, Andy. I didn't. it's
That's
the
my job.
Yeah, I know the second weekend in June. And the 52s will come in a little early. They're going to start, I think, on Tuesday, do 3 days of buoy racing. Friday is our traditional lap of Connecticut Island, standalone lap around the island, which is in the center of Narragansett Bay there. A favorite race for everybody.
To be clear, we have an invitational regatta. So there will be 52 Super Series racing. There will be an invitational fleet as well of 52s, the same as we did in Puerto Portals, I think, 2 years ago. So it's an open invitation to 52s.
Yeah, well, so we're going to have a lot of boats there,
Yeah.
obviously. So it'd be great to get as many 52s there as we can, whether they're going to race in the Super Series or in the annual regatta fleet. So,
And on that Friday, everybody gets a chance to race around the island.
yeah, around the island race, one of the best days of the year. Traditionally we'll start the slower boats first. So a lot of times it's upwind, either to depending on the breeze, either to Beavertail, which is the south end of Connecticut Island, or the north end of Connecticut Island, and then you get this great run where the faster boats tend to sort of overtake the slower boats, and it's really just a parade of spinnakers. When the weather is right and the sun's out there, it's just a majestic sight coming down the West Passage from one direction or the other. And so that's a great race. And then Saturday and Sunday will be the traditional buoy racing series for the annual regatta, and the 52s will be finishing up their event there, getting their 4th and 5th days
And then
of racing.
about a month later, I think we've got the Rolex TP52 World
Yeah,
Championship.
right, which will be held during Race Week at Newport, presented by Rolex, which is an event we've been running at the New York Yacht Club biannually since 1998. Great event, always just a tremendous with our partner Rolex, and the 52s are going to be a natural fit in there. So I think they'll do a day, or start a day early, because it's a 4-day event. So to get the 5 days in, they'll start a day early there, and that's so it'll be much like this schedule, it's sort of a Tuesday to Saturday schedule, and go from there.
How many boats would we expect from the States, from your side of the pond, as it were?
For in the 52 class or overall?
No, the 52 class.
50 class. It's hard to say. I mean, we did have 5 or 6 boats in the Great Lakes series, and I don't know if that series has made a plan yet where they're going to be. Those boats, they like to sort of focus on a place and go there because that provides the best racing. And obviously the boats are not easy to move around, so you want to put them in one place and sort of leave them there for the season. So I've yet to see sort of what the plans are there, but we do get 140, 150 plus boats for the annual regatta, and somewhere in the 80 to 100 range for Race Week at Newport. So a lot of people sailing in Newport.
We get a good chance to see 52 Super Series and the TP52s up close and personal.
That's right. It's tremendous, and we're really excited. It's we like to think of Newport as sailing capital of the United States, though there are some disagreements on that point. I'm sure we'll get a few calls or text messages or comments on that, but I think during those 2 weeks in particular, you won't find a better place to be if you like sailing.
And what about the scene here? I mean, you're obviously very close with the New York Yacht Club, but coming into the America's Cup cauldron, as it were, for the first time here in Barcelona, the excitement is already palpable, isn't it?
Yeah, you can see it sort of percolating, through the city, and it reminds me a little bit of going to Valencia in 2004, 2005. As that city was ramping up. Now, I think Valencia probably had a little bit further to go than Barcelona does now in terms of the infrastructure, in terms of the whole city. Valencia obviously did quite a bit of work to their downtown port, but you can see the bases coming up here, and you can see the teams sort of. You just feel it's a little thing, but there's gear, team gear being worn around and things like that. You just sort of get a sense that they're coming, but. The America's Cup is right. It's a long sort of slow boil, and then all of a sudden it just erupts in the last couple of months with the actual competition. But
and of course we're not too far off the first event.
Yes, I think a lot of people eagerly looking forward to that. It's based on some of the interviews the teams did last week after some of the training they did here. I think you sort of have two camps there. You have American Magic and Emirates Team New Zealand that purchased 2 AC40s and are doing some pretty spirited racing amongst inter-team racing, and are probably really eager to see how they go. And then a couple of other teams have been focused a bit maybe more on development with one AC40 and one LEQ12 they designed themselves. And they may not be placing as much emphasis on the actual racing of the AC40s, but that's the sort of the official party line. But once you get these guys on the starting line, right, there's no question they're going to win, and they want to show everyone what they've gotten. And if you don't go out there and try to win, you're missing opportunity, really, because what we saw in Auckland in particular was the racing evolved so much from the Christmas Cup in December through the end of the Prada Cup, the Challenger Selection Series. It really changed because they hadn't done any racing. They've been racing against tenders for 2 years in the AC 75, and also they had another boat to go against, and it really was a different game. So this is an opportunity to really see what that game is like.
I'll put you on the spot. How do you feel the American Magic program has evolved since the last time?
Well, I think that the biggest thing that you can see with the American Magic program has been the infusion of American youth. And there really is a tremendous development there, and we see it right now. We've got Harry Melges IV out there, obviously from a tremendous line of American sailors. His
At the ripe old age of 22.
Right. His grandfather, Buddy Melges, recently passed. It was a hero to American sailors throughout. A tremendous individual, and his dad, Harry Melges III, is a tremendous sailor in his own right. A champion in many boats. So it's great to see Harry coming in there, but it's not just Harry. It's Mike Menninger. It's Riley Gibbs and Severin Graham and a number of guys that are, and then they've recently got Helena Scoot on board as sort of a dual engineer sailor role. So they're working to bring in young Americans into this team. And I think if you look at sort of the America's Cup over the last 2 decades, you see the importance of those developmental roles coming in and doing those sort of those sort of ground troop level jobs, but just getting to see the culture and understanding what it's all about at the America's Cup level, and then those people evolve into being the America's Cup stars of the next 4 or 5 years. So that's I think the biggest change with American Magic, and it's tremendous change because I think it really will increase the enthusiasm and the support for the team, which was already high. It will even get even higher, and it's also building a tremendous sort of stable of talent for the future.
And having seen what we've seen recently, where do you feel they are in terms of the preparation and against the other teams at the moment?
Oh, Scott, now you're really putting me on the spot. I don't know if I'm not sure I'm going to wade into that hornet's nest quite yet. But the team they seem to be out there doing well. They had I think I'd say a moderately successful experience during those trials last week. They won more than they lost in the match race and appeared to be going well in the fleet race. One was sort of a good fleet race, and the second one the wind dropped off. So I think that the consensus will be the team is going well, but. How important is it to be going well at this stage is debatable because a lot can change. And I think if you look back at the America's Cup, you will see, there's a lot of history of the team that seems to be the favorites 18 months or 12 months out that does not end up doing well in the actual competition. So right now, it's, as I paraphrase Terry Hutchins, all about the process, all about moving forward. Making each day better than the last. That's
our job this week. Anyway, I think we're going to go off here momentarily. Just wait until the breeze comes in. Do watch on our social media channels and see, and we'll join you again, hopefully in a few minutes. Hopefully, fingers crossed, the breeze comes in.
A ship is coming toward me. It's fog. I can only see maybe 100 yards, 150 yards. It's blaring its horns. I don't know what's going on. I don't know where it is. I can hear its engine. This is nerve-wracking. This is just hopeless.
Which brings east-southeast winds, god damn it, and it is the same damn game. This ocean has been playing with me all the way since October, and this is just insane.
I don't know where this boat is going.
Sufot, Marmara'nın gözü.
Marmara'da sualtı canlılığının takipçisi Sufot.
Müsilajın etkisini Sufot takip etti ve edecek.
Sufot, ısı, derinlik ve müsilaj yoğunluğunu özel izinlerle akademisyenlere düzenli olarak aktardı.
Sualtı hakkında bildiklerimizin ayın yüzeyi hakkında bildiklerimizden daha fazla olması için Sufot TUSACAM projesini başlattı.
Güzellikleriyle yaşayan Marmara'nın gözü de Sufot. Hiçbir sualtı fotoğrafçısı Marmara'dan boş çıkmaz.
Fotoğrafçı ve filmci üyeleriyle Sufot, Marmara'nın ve tüm denizlerimizin korunmasına destek oluyor.
Sufot sadece manzara çekmez, kontrol için veriler toplar.
Sufot harika bir dernektir.
I am very honored to be part of this extraordinary experience that is taking place here, where I had the privilege of seeing a lot of young people who are the decision makers of tomorrow, and I can tell you there is hope. We're going to do it. And if I didn't have this privilege of being connected with those children, I may wonder about the future of our species. We're the only species on the planet that has the privilege to decide not to disappear. So education is critical, and I'm excited.
Because all of these are going to be brought to our nurseries so that we can grow and nurture them, so that when we need to plant them in the ground, once the building is finished, we'll have all of this native flora that we can give back.
And let's never forget that we're all connected to every species on land, in the ocean, animals, plants, and the diversity is synonymous of stability. We cannot afford losing species. We're all connected to nature, and we need to do everything we can to make that something that will never disappear. Our mission at Ocean Futures Society is, if you protect the ocean, you protect yourself. Thank you very much.
A ship is coming toward me. It's fog. I can only see maybe 100 yards, 150 yards. It's blaring its horns. I don't know what's going on. I don't know where it is. I can hear its engine. This is nerve-wracking. This is just hopeless.
Which brings east-southeast winds, god damn it, and it is the same damn game. This ocean has been playing with me all the way since October, and this is just insane.
I don't know where this boat is going.
Sufot, Marmara'nın gözü.
Marmara'da sualtı canlılığının takipçisi Sufot.
Müsilajın etkisini Sufot takip etti ve edecek.
Sufot, ısı, derinlik ve müsilaj yoğunluğunu özel izinlerle akademisyenlere düzenli olarak aktardı.
Sualtı hakkında bildiklerimizin ayın yüzeyi hakkında bildiklerimizden daha fazla olması için Sufot TUSACAM projesini başlattı.
Güzellikleriyle yaşayan Marmara'nın gözü de Sufot. Hiçbir sualtı fotoğrafçısı Marmara'dan boş çıkmaz.
Fotoğrafçı ve filmci üyeleriyle SUFOT, Marmara'nın ve tüm denizlerimizin korunmasına destek oluyor.
SUFOT sadece manzara çekmez, kontrol için veriler toplar.
Sufot harika bir dernektir.
I am very honored to be part of this extraordinary experience that is taking place here, where I had the privilege of seeing a lot of young people who are the decision makers of tomorrow, and I can tell you there is hope. We're gonna do it. And if I didn't have this privilege of being connected with those children, I may wonder about the future of our species. We're the only species on the planet that has the privilege to decide not to disappear. So education is critical, and I'm excited.
Because all of these are going to be brought to our nurseries so that we can grow and nurture them, so that when we need to plant them in the ground, once the building is finished, we'll have all of this native flora that we can give back.
Let's never forget that we're all connected to every species on land, in the ocean, animals, plants, and the diversity is synonymous of stability. We cannot afford losing species. We're all connected to nature, and we need to do everything we can to make that something that will never disappear. Our mission at Ocean Futures Society is, if you protect the ocean, you protect yourself. Thank you very much.
A ship is coming toward me. It's fog. I can only see maybe 100 yards, 150 yards. It's blaring its horns. I don't know what's going on. I don't know where it is. I can hear its engine. This is nerve-wracking. this is just hopeless.
Which brings east-southeast winds, god damn it, and it is the same damn game. This ocean has been playing with me all the way since October, and this is just insane.
I don't know where this boat is going.
Sufot, Marmara'nın gözü.
Marmara'da sualtı canlılığının takipçisi Sufot.
Müsilajın etkisini Sufot takip etti ve edecek.
Sufot, ısı, derinlik ve müsilaj yoğunluğunu özel izinlerle akademisyenlere düzenli olarak aktardı.
Sualtı hakkında bildiklerimizin ayın yüzeyi hakkında bildiklerimizden daha fazla olması için Sufot TUSAJAN projesini başlattı.
Güzellikleriyle yaşayan Marmara'nın gözü de Sufot. Hiçbir sualtı fotoğrafçısı Marmara'dan boş çıkmaz.
Fotoğrafçı ve filmci üyeleriyle SUFOT, Marmara'nın ve tüm denizlerimizin korunmasına destek oluyor.
SUFOT sadece manzara çekmez, kontrol için veriler toplar.
Sgtv harika bir dernektir.
I am very honored to be part of this extraordinary experience that is taking place here, where I had the privilege of seeing a lot of young people who are the decision makers of tomorrow, and I can tell you there is hope. We're going to do it. And if I didn't have this privilege of being connected with those children, I may wonder about the future of our species. We're the only species on the planet that has the privilege to decide not to disappear. So education is critical, and I'm excited.
Because all of these are going to be brought to our nurseries so that we can grow and nurture them, so that when we need to plant them in the ground, once the building is finished, we'll have all of this native flora that we can give back.
And let's never forget that we're all connected to every species on land, in the ocean, animals, plants, and the diversity is synonymous of stability. We cannot afford losing species. We're all connected to nature, and we need to do everything we can to make that something that will never disappear. Our mission at Ocean Futures Society is, if you protect the ocean, you protect yourself. Thank you very much.
A ship is coming toward me. fog. I can only see maybe 100 yards, 150 yards. It's blaring its horns. I don't know what's going on. I don't know where it is. I can hear its engine. This is nerve-wracking. This is just hopeless.
Which brings east-southeast winds, god damn it, and it is the same damn game. This ocean has been playing with me all the way since October, and this is just insane.
I don't know where this boat is going.
Sufot, Marmara'nın gözü.
Marmara'da sualtı canlılığının takipçisi Sufot.
Müsilajın etkisini Sufot takip etti ve edecek.
Sufot, ısı, derinlik ve müsilaj yoğunluğunu özel izinlerle akademisyenlere düzenli olarak aktardı.
Sualtı hakkında bildiklerimizin ayın yüzeyi hakkında bildiklerimizden daha fazla olması için Sufot TUSAJAN projesini başlattı.
Güzellikleriyle yaşayan Marmara'nın gözü de Sufot. Hiçbir sualtı fotoğrafçısı Marmara'dan boş çıkmaz.
Fotoğrafçı ve filmci üyeleriyle SUFOT, Marmara'nın ve tüm denizlerimizin korunmasına destek oluyor.
SUFOT sadece manzara çekmez, kontrol için veriler toplar.
SUFOT harika bir dernektir.
I am very honored to be part of this extraordinary experience that is taking place here, where I had the privilege of seeing a lot of young people who are the decision makers of tomorrow, and I can tell you there is hope. We're going to do it. And if I didn't have this privilege of being connected with those children, I may wonder about the future of our species. We're the only species on the planet that has the privilege to decide not to disappear. So education is critical, and I'm excited.
Because all of these are going to be brought to our nurseries so that we can grow and nurture them, so that when we need to plant them in the ground, once the building is finished, we'll have all of this native flora that we can give back.
And let's never forget that we're all connected to every species on land, in the ocean, animals, plants, and the diversity is synonymous of stability. We cannot afford losing species. We're all connected to nature, and we need to do everything we can to make that something that will never disappear. Our mission at Ocean Futures Society is, if you protect the ocean, you protect yourself. Thank you very much.